Hello, Jim Howard here in Fort Worth, Texas. Today's date, it is August 6th, 2016. And I thought I just should make a little video to kind of let you know what's going on. I guess you can see that I'm using two of these microphones. And I'm feeding them into which I reviewed. I reviewed the microphones. And I'm feeding it into this sound card mixer, the 5-Fine N8, which I think I reviewed it for you.
9 Kilo Fox worldwide. DK 5 Kilo Foxtrot. Delta Kilo 5 Kilo Foxtrot worldwide.
And see. So I'm using these two microphones. It'll be interesting to see how you all react to the audio with these microphones set up. I don't know much about audio, but I'm not really good at. I think I'm better at doing. Yeah, I'm pretty good at making YouTube videos or stuff, but I don't. And the video part, I'm just not too good with audio. Don't know enough.
GW6 Yankee Mexico Sugar. There's a Kilo 5 Kilo Fox.
Turn down the volume here. Wanted to mention that, so I'm playing with that. I got, and this is not going to be a review of this radio because I do not know enough to review this radio. But I purchased, as you can see, on July 27th, a TYT MD380. It is a ham radio, handy talkie. Only 100. I think I paid 119. They've gone down in price. Whoops. Let's see. Well, the display is so bright that you can see it better there. It's a digital. It's digital radio. Now, amateur radio operators do all types of. They do. If you can, not if you can get an amateur radio license very easy here. Well, here in the United States, and I'm sure other places too. Very easy to get an amateur radio license. Super, especially since they did away with having to know the International Morse code, and you can study online. Do a search for amateur radio testing or whatever, and you'll be, and you don't have to pay. But there are a few sites where you can pay some money, but you can also find sites that are for free, and they give you the questions. And the starting entry point for an amateur radio operator, which is all I am, is a technician's class, and they give you the questions, and you answer the questions, and you learn that way. You can also purchase a guide, and I've had this. Ouch! Not good. I want to upgrade to the general class, and so they have this for the technicians also. And don't worry, it's not. A whole bunch of this is information for you, and you can read it. You can read it, try to study it. But the important part is in the back, all the questions that you could be asked on the test are in the back, and the answers. You just don't know when you go to take your test which questions are going to be asked. But it's very easy, especially with the entry level, the technician's class, to. I had a friend, a police officer, who wanted to be an amateur radio operator. He came over a few times, sat down for a few hours on my computer, took the test, and he didn't do any studying out of the manual. He just took the test, and then he would miss a course, and then he would continue taking the test online, and then I rode over with him, and he took the test, and he passed because he saw what he missed. And then when the test came up again, he knew, okay, I missed that one. And so, very easy to do. I recommend it. Amateur operators do. They work through the satellites. They communicate with the people on the ham radio operators on the space station. They do amateur television. They have repeaters. There must be 30 or 40, maybe more, in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Repeaters that are strategically located high up usually. And so with a walkie-talkie, you can 5 watts probably hit. You're going to be able to hit walkie-talkie or hit the repeater, and it goes in and retransmitted out and blah 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 blah. Don't want to go into all the techniques, but easy to become an amateur. But you have to have a license to do this. Now this is digital mode. I'm brand new to digital mode. The other has been analog, and this is digital. It's really nice. A lot of nice things about it. Like I said, this isn't a review of it, but it's different than what a ham radio operator is used to in many, many ways. On the digital, which a little difficult, on analog, when you're listening or talking to somebody or whatever, and he's mobile, driving in a car with his radio in a car, and talking to you, when he starts to get out of range of the repeater, he may switch over to another repeater, or he may just say, "Hey, I'm going to lose the repeater here, and I'll catch you later," or whatever. But you'll know because you'll be listening to him, and you'll hear the signal starting to get weaker, break up statically, or whatever. With digital radio, at a certain level, you don't have that way. At a certain level, if there's a signal there strong enough, you've got it, and you're listening to the person in digital. When something starts to happen, the signal just disappears, and that's a little hard for me to get, and for a lot of others to get used to. But anyway, digital also, it's set up. Let's see, where is that? I know I have it someplace. That's not it. Here's a program that you can program the frequencies and information into your radio. For digital, for the DMR, there's different kinds of digital. Unfortunately, well, DMR is based on Motorola technology and the business company, Motorola, the business company. And so it's been around forever. And ham radio operators have figured out how to use that technology. And so it's kind of interwoven in with, so things are a little bit different with that. So then amateur radio operators wanted to get into digital radio. Of course, they've been doing digital radio for a long, long time, or by doing teletype, back in the teletype days, then by doing all types of different technology. They want to get into digital voice and some data, because you can do some data also here. I don't want to get into all this too much, but this is set up, well anyway, then, let's see, Kenwood, I think it was. Did Kenwood do D-Star? An amateur radio company that has been selling great radios for a long time to ham radio operators. This is $119. Theirs are $400 and $500. They came out with D-Star and digital, but it's their own. Their D-Star could only talk to other radios from the company. Well, you could do analog with the same radio, but so far as the digital is concerned. So amateur radio operators, we hope that, okay, this is going to be the standard, or there'll be one adopted, or there'll have interconnectivity or whatever. And then Yaesu, who has been making fantastic. I I've owned a Kenwood handy-talkie. I've owned a, did I own a Yaesu, or is it, I can't remember. I've owned a bunch. So Yaesu, who makes great radios, they came out with digital, which is not compatible with D-Star, not compatible with DMR. Now their repeaters, though, they have some interconnectivity where, and there are some ways to tie these things together. But so I've got DMR, and here's the, you know, you use this type of software. Now with DMR, they have people make code plugs, and a guy in this area here, and a code plug is just a list of all the data that you need put into this file, and you can load the file in using a program like this to your radio. You can make some modifications if you want to it. Well, you'll want to put in your call sign, and my DMR radio ID number is 3148738. And I mention that because with like this radio here, I don't know, I think 7,000, I forget, I was able to, with another program, load in all the people in Texas, Oklahoma, a few other places. Their call signs and their ID numbers were loaded into my radio. So if they, in that area that's in my radio, if they check in on the radio, I see their name and I see their call sign. Now what's nice about those other ham radio protocols for D-Star and, I want to say Fusion, well, Yaesu, they do it differently, and it's anybody that does the digital, does D-Star or does the Yaesu version, you don't have to load in to your radio their information. It's there. It's embedded in the signal when they transmit, and that would really be nice. I would love to go with, and I don't know whether to go with D-Star or Yaesu. I'm thinking Yaesu, but that's about $450, almost $500 for the radio. This was $119, and I've been enjoying it. But what you have, so let's go back to D, which is similar to the others. Let's go back to D-Star here. See if I can find it. Zone information. So all this zone information is put in. Now these are all Texas because they're in my radio. So I can pick the zone, which I have, Fort Worth. I also have Dallas, and I can have other areas, but you can edit these. And what did I want to get? Well, anyway, I want to talk about. Well, let me go to the zone here. This is Texas. Go to Fort Worth. Where are you? Hopefully you are in. I think I saw it. Dallas. Here it is. So here, now this all could be edited, but here is the way this is set up on this radio. So on channel 1, I have Metro Fort Worth. Anybody who wants to transmit on Metro Fort Worth, I can hear them, I can hear them and talk to them. The next is statewide Fort Worth. So anybody who transmits on that, we can all hear each other. Next is regional Fort Worth, bigger area than this. Then Cactus, and I think that's a network. Then there is TAC 310, and that's for getting off of one of these other channels and you go over to that, and then you just talk with each other and not tie up these others. And you have Bridge Fort Worth, and you have then on this radio, and you can put them in any order you wanted to, there is North America. So people all over North America transmit using DMR radios, and we can talk to each other. Then there is wide area, I think, Fort Worth, and then there's worldwide, and that's what you were hearing on here was worldwide. And today people from Germany, all over, Malta, all play, are on there, but you don't want to tie it up too long. Just having a chat with somebody, you want to say, hey, let's go to such and such a channel and free up. Those should be like calling channels. They United States worldwide, or or North America, and then actually there's North America English, North America Spanish. Worldwide. There's a lot. You can decide what's going to be in your radio. So I've been playing with this, and like I said, this was $119, and I am. Now, if you want to learn about, you could learn about it without getting an amateur radio license. You can go to YouTube and you can do a search for DMR radio. What you're going to find, though, is I've seen several videos that last for an hour or two that somebody is explaining it, and I've watched those videos. It's over my head. I don't understand any of Well, I understand some of it, but how can I apply? How can I apply it? The digital bandwidth, where one radio channel can actually transmit two different things at the same time on the limited bandwidth on an analog, the old type of radio. The signal is kind of wide, and that's all it carries. With digital, the frequency spread is not as wide, but you got two data streams, or you could have more depending on, with DMR, with this type of digital radio, and the other, it is, so that's what and they talk about how many milliseconds before it switches, and when you watch these hour-long and 2-hour instructional things, there's a guy on there on YouTube who has a thing showing you exactly step by step how to edit this file that you're looking at. You're only seeing part of it that you're looking at, and that's complicated too. That's why it's great that they have these code plugs. There's a guy. I'm just going to shut this down. There is a guy, if I can find, where is... Okay, here he is. An amateur radio operator, and he does YouTube videos also. And he has a radio shop in this area, Grapevine Amateur Radio. And I downloaded from his site, I downloaded the code plug, and he had it all set up for a big area, and then I just put in my call sign and my number, and made a couple of little tiny changes, and bang, loaded into my radio, and I'm all set. So wherever you are, if you get into this, if you get one of these type of radios, DMR type radio, look for a code plug. Two, there are amateur radio clubs here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I don't know how many. There's a bunch of amateur radio clubs. I'm in Fort Worth. There's several amateur radio clubs in Fort Worth that have repeaters, have all types of stuff. One of the clubs, the Cowtown Amateur Radio Club, They have a clubhouse with amateur radio equipment there, and they have they meet every Thursday. Back in the old days, like Kansas City, Missouri, when I was in Kansas City, Missouri, the amateur radio clubs, I think, usually like met, once a month or something. They meet, this club meets once a week on Thursdays, and they have repeaters, a number of repeaters that you can use for free. They do testing every other Thursday, and that's where you do your test. You take your test, pay a small amount of money. I think it's less than $5. I don't know. You pay a small amount of money. They give you the test. If you pass the test, they forward that information to the Federal Communications Commission, and you get your amateur radio license, and you are a licensed amateur radio operator. They'll test you there for every other Thursday. They'll test you for your technician's license or for the general license, and they're extra and advanced, and even they have some people who are qualified to test you. They need to know ahead of time for that, but who can who can test you for some commercial radio licenses or whatever. So anyway, by the way, my other radio, which I knocked on the floor, ham radios, by the way, are made very rugged and waterproof or whatever, because amateur radio operators do emergency communications. Amateur radio operators, there's just so many things, different things you can do, are tied in with MARS, Military Amateur Radio Service, and they assist the military, Army, Navy, whatever. They work with the Red Cross. They work with, in disasters, Skywarn, watching for storms and reporting storms to the Weather Bureau, all types of stuff. And so the radios are usually built very sturdy, very rugged. But, what I was going to say, and I want to come back to it, but I got sidetracked. If you're thinking about getting into amateur radio operator, contact one of the clubs, find somebody around, and especially if you get into digital amateur radio or anything you get into and you need some help, there'll be an amateur radio operator who will be happy to help you out. Like at this club meeting, you can take your radio, not just this kind of radio, but any radio, and if you go there, somebody will be able to show you how to set it up, and somebody will probably have their radio set up, or the software to set your radio up for you, or cables for cloning between their radio, which is all set up, for this area, whatever area you happen to be in, and they can just transfer the frequencies and stuff over into your and they'll help you with antennas, help you with everything. Wanted to get back to, this is it here, yeah. Well, it looks identical, so I don't have to bother. I have this radio, except I have the older version, which is 2 bands, 2 meters, and 440. And I think I paid a little bit less for it, but here for $119, identical radio, the battery works, same cloning cable, all that type of stuff works. Now for $119, you can get 2 meters, 440, and you get another band, tri-band, 220. So I'll probably be purchasing that. And of course the Ogen, we're all saying it, it's a Chinese company, we're all saying it a different way, I think. But they make a good radio, made in Japan, excellent radio. And for years we've been paying hundreds and hundreds of dollars for ham radios, and now China is kicking out really good radios at a price we can finally afford. Like I said, I purchased at least a couple, maybe 3 handy talkies for $4.50. Kitty cat, don't play with my Fisher Space Pen. You're gonna lose it. What else is going on? I didn't intend to make this entirely about amateur radio, but I could. This is turned down, but should I turn it up? Okay, I'll turn it up. It's on worldwide. Let me switch channels here. Let me see. Okay, now it's on the ground. Hurts me to bend over. Could you just, kitty cat, hand me the pen? My arthritis. Don't kick it underneath the bed or something, please. Let's see if we pick up anybody else. Nope, I'll just leave it on worldwide and turned up. So, what else is going on? Well, I think that's about it. What do you think of the microphone setup here? Do you notice the difference? And is it coming across stereo? Can you notice that I have leaned over this way and I'm talking, and then I'm going over here and talking over here? Or are they... I guess I could run Audacity. Well, I'd have to record it. Well, that's what I'm doing now, isn't it? And then I guess I'd be able to see the different tracks or whatever. Anyway, like I said, I don't know much about audio. Okay, thank you very much for watching. I've talked too long. Well, 27 minutes is not too long, is it?